Hi everyone, I'm Divya.
Hi, I'm Scott.
I'm Alex.
We are the Kinney Middle School team, and today we will be discussing the concept of power and privilege in relation to our community partner, as well as other communities who may face similar struggles. To begin with, we wanted to first define power and privilege. Power is a term used to describe a person, organization, or country that has control over others, often because of wealth, importance, or great strength. Privilege can be defined as a special right, advantage, or immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. Both of these terms are significant in the sense that not all communities are granted power and/or privilege. These two terms often go hand in hand because those who have specific privileges have more authority or power as a result. The illustration below shows 3 different fish, each with different perspectives. The smallest fish conveys that there is no justice in the world because it does not have any food to consume. On top of that, it can easily be eaten by many other fish. The fish in the middle has a different perspective. For the middle fish, there is some justice in the world because it has smaller fish to eat, but it can also be consumed by another larger fish. The largest fish sees that the world is just because it has plenty of fish to consume and does not have to worry about being eaten by someone else. Ultimately, power and privilege are both relative in the sense that not everyone gets the same amount. When considering power and privilege in the United States, it can be noted that specific social groups are more likely to have power or authority over others because they are granted more privileges. The list above describes some social groups with more privileges than others. Some of these privileges may include a higher socioeconomic status, easier access to healthcare and education, respect in a variety of public settings, and more general opportunities. To convey how power and privilege are prevalent in regards to my community partner, I have written a poem. It is called What the Eyes Can't See. First, I wanted to share the poem, and then I will discuss choices of words and examples. What the Eyes Can't See. What the eyes cannot see are the silhouettes of children, riding their bikes miles and miles, for a lack of better transportation. They must attend school. These things the eyes cannot see. Out on the blacktop, there are voices. Voices whispering, I don't have a father. Other voices question, do you? None of us have fathers. These are the things the eyes cannot see. Inside the classroom, students kick and shout. The teacher looks at them helplessly. Is there any way to control them? This is the question we all ask, but the real question is why? Why do they kick and shout? Why can't they sit still? These are the things the eyes cannot see. When we look towards the ground, there are legs that help us move from place to place. Some legs are adorned with anklets, others covered by socks or jeans, but some have metal and lots of it. These are the things the eyes cannot see. We all have a story that makes us whole. Each tale is different from the next. These accounts can't always be known. After all, there are so many things that the eyes cannot see. In regards to power and privilege at Kinney Middle School, the reality is that many of the students have trouble getting adequate transportation. Many of them have no choice but to ride their bikes because they do not have a parent or guardian who can drop them off, or they may not have a car at all. Others do not have bikes, so they walk to school. For those who live many miles away, having to ride a bike or walk can quickly become a reason not to attend school at all. One of the first things we see at Kinney is the loud and chaotic behavior of the students when in the classroom. They do not sit in one spot and they shout incessantly on a daily basis. It is easy to become frustrated with the disobedience, but it's important to remember that we do not know the reasons for the behavior. These students do not have the same privileges that other communities are granted, so they may struggle to control their behavior as a result. We do not know the complete stories behind any of the students at Kinney, so it is important to refrain from making assumptions or judgments. This is important to remember not only at Kinney, but in everyday situations. We don't know the entire story of any individual because not everyone is given the same privileges. Inherently, some people have more power than others because of the privileges they receive. Next, Scott and Alex will further discuss power and privilege and its implications on society.
Our experience with students from Kinney Middle School has shown us that they are students who wish to continue their education, and they each have their own personal and unique circumstances that provide their own challenges and contribute to stress in different ways within these students' lives. Kinney provides a safe and supportive environment that helps accommodate their unique circumstances and opportunities or alternatives to complete their education.
This is further exemplified in a quote from the middle school's 2019 to 2020 student handbook that states, "Our job is to accept all appropriately placed students, identify and correct those behaviors which caused or contributed to them becoming unsuccessful in a traditional school setting, and return them to a comprehensive program postured for success at the earliest opportunity." Every student is unique, and they all have different reasons that led them to be here. A quote from the handbook says, "Students may leave when their attendance, behavior, and classwork meet standards that are appropriate." We do not know the full picture of the story of any of these individuals because not everyone possesses or has access to the same powers and privileges.
Due to their own unique individual situations, they have different sets of powers and privileges, which can add various different stressors to their lives. From our experience volunteering with students and conversing with staff members, we have identified some examples. The first example is steady lifestyle. One student mentioned that he was put into this alternative school because his parents were going through a divorce at the time, which had required him to be present in court and not in school. This caused him to receive many absences from his old home school, and he could no longer attend there for this reason. He was glad that Kinney allowed him to continue to attend school, make up for his absences, while understanding his situation at home. Some students see attending school itself as a privilege. Some feel they need to continue to work hard in class in order to retain their privilege to attend school and receive an education. Graduating on time and having a set educational timeline can also be a privilege. For certain students, they may need to take time off from school due to personal circumstances, which may delay or prolong the time it would take for them to graduate or transition into the next level in education. This could add additional stress for students as they may worry about graduating on time or perhaps graduating at all. Many of these stressors can add on or snowball, which may be overwhelming for students. Kinney allows these students to make up the credit and time for those absences, as well as providing an accommodating environment to help these students graduate or transition into high school and or graduating on time or on their own time.
Another example would be medical issues. Coach Masters mentioned that many students here have ADHD. The school provides a safe and supportive environment with lots of staff members that can provide personal attention and work with these students. Other factors would be diet and exercise. Health can be a privilege in the sense that if you have the necessary resources, then health can be made a priority. It can be difficult to discuss with everyone about eating healthy and maintaining healthy habits because not everyone may have the same and equal access to the same healthy food and nutritional resources. The staff members have mentioned that for some students here, the school lunch could be the student's only source of meal of the day. But one positive aspect about Kinney Middle School was that we had the opportunity to volunteer with the students during their physical education period. In the beginning, most of the students only walked or stood around. But as we tried to be more active engaging with them and playing sports such as football, basketball, and kickball, we encouraged them to partake and also exercise with us. Playing sports with the students was also a great way to bond and get to know these students at a more personal level. We tried playing more team-oriented sports in order to help display teamwork. Exercise was also a great way to relieve stress, and Coach Masters had often commented on how calm the students felt after that period. We wanted to help these students to enjoy playing sports and exercising in the hopes that they would develop a certain liking and habit to continue to do so in the future, which was one contribution we hope to impart on these kids.
Our third example is transportation. One student told us about his 45-minute bike ride to and from school. This could produce added stress for the student as they may now need to take into consideration factors such as traffic and safe travel routes. A bike ride of 45 minutes each way can also be physically tolling, and depending on the traffic each way to and from school, it can be time-consuming. This may take away time from doing homework or the choice of pursuing an after-school activity. The student also expressed his frequent concern that his bike, and thus his way of getting home, could be stolen while in class. For students who take public transportation or have someone drive them by car, they may not have to worry about this. Worrying about your bike or mode of transportation getting stolen can be a stressor that is constantly worried about from the moment school begins to the end.
Having privilege is not inherently a bad thing, but it is how you utilize it and how others are impacted by it that you must vigilantly attend to. It is important to understand that not everyone has the same and equal opportunity and access to the same power and privileges, or the same means or method of achieving them. Sometimes simply having the choice or the time to pursue an interest can be a privilege. It is important for us, as future healthcare practitioners, to understand this about power and privilege in order to treat patients from varying demographics with justice and an open mind without any bias.
Lastly, we'd like to thank the Kinney Middle School or Prospect Community Day School.
We thank Coach Masters and the following staff members.
We also thank the Service Learning team.